Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys so much for being here on my second tarot channel, Neptune's Child Tarot. For those of you that are new, welcome. You may also want to check out my main tarot channel, Moon Moth Goddess, where I do have a bunch of other pick a card readings for you guys to check out over there. For those of you that would like to book a private reading, you can find my email down below in the description box. Just send me an email and I will provide you with more information on booking readings as well as other services that I do provide. Today's pick a card reading, we are doing what personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? Okay, so it's kind of a long one. What personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? Is our question for the tarot today, to connect with spirit. So we are going to do three different choices today, groups. Group one or pile one is going to be this Carnelian. Group two, pile two is going to be this green Opal. And then group three, pile three is going to be this Mookaite Jasper, which is a mix of like red and yellow. And I will give you guys a closer look. But if you already know, just kind of from looking at them, these two are kind of similar, but we've got yellow in this one. If you already know which one you feel the most drawn to, you can go ahead and skip ahead to the timestamp and it'll take you directly to the reading. But for those of you that want to get a little bit of extra help with choosing your pile and also a closer up look at the crystal that you are choosing, let's get to that. And I always list the tarot and oracle decks that I'm using for readings in the description box, which you can find located directly beneath the video. There should be like a little box in there that it might say more or something. Like if you click more, it'll show you and take you to that information. Okay, so let's see. For pile number one with the Carnelian, what personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? What personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? Okay, so that is going to be for one. There goes my phone, always, when I'm recording pick a card readings. Pile two. What personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? For pile two with the green Opal. And pile three with the Mookaite Jasper. What personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? Okay, those are the choices, and I'm also gonna put my phone on silent. There we go. Okay, so pile one, we have card number 10, the Communion of Tender Souls, with this Carnelian. So pile one, what personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? Pile two, we have card number 30, a time to share, and that was with this green Opal. Pile number 3, we have card number 5, the Lonesome Gardener, and that is with this Mookaite Jasper, so it's got a lot of yellow in it. And that is going to be for pile number 3. Okay. You can clearly see from all of these colors here that I am already thinking about the fall, autumn. Okay. So I've been thinking about it since January. So pile 1, we have the communion of tender souls with the Carnelian. Pile 2, we have a time to share with the green Opal. And then pile number 3, we have the lonesome gardener with the Mookaite Jasper. So those are the choices for today. What personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? Timestamps will be down below, and I will see you guys at your reading. Hi, pile 1. So those of you that resonate with this beautiful card here, 10, the communion of tender souls. This is going to be a reading today. So we are finding out what personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize. So we're going to pull your oracle cards, and I think let's start with the larger one. Let's pull one of these, and we're going to pull all of your cards, and then we're going to look at the energy there and what Spirit is saying you should prioritize. Personal growth and spiritual development. So what personal growth or spiritual development should pile number 1 prioritize? Pile number 1. Okay, so we have pomegranate, and it says, dare to taste the unknown. Let it seduce your spirit awake. Dare to taste the unknown. Let it seduce your spirit awake. Okay, let's see what else. What personal growth or spiritual development should pile number 1 prioritize? We have cleansing. Cleansing. And personal growth and spiritual development that pile 1 should prioritize. Okay, so we have the rooster and sunflower with communication. Okay, now let's pull your tarot. And I might have to cover up some of the imagery on this deck. See what Spirit has. What personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? Okay, so we're starting off with the Hanged Man. What personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? We have the Justice card. I'll try to get 3 more. One more. All right, 2 more then. Okay. So let's see. We've got the 8 of Wands. We have the Justice card. We have the Page of Cups. We have the 7 of Pentacles. And we have the 9 of Cups. Okay. Okay, so the 2 major arcana that we do have here is, or are the Hangman and the Justice card. I'll try to make sure everything is fitting in here, so nothing gets cut off later when I edit this a little bit. Okay. So we do have Pisces energy here. We also have Libra, Pisces with the Page of Cups. We've got Sagittarius. And then we also have Scorpio. And then we also have Earth sign energy here with the 7 of Pentacles. Okay, so what I'm getting here, first off, I noticed that, you know, the beautiful card that you have here, the Communion of Tender Souls, and we have these 2 little monsters that are kind of sitting together, and one is holding the other's hand, but they're both kind of just sitting there looking at the butterfly that has landed on one of them's hand or little arm right here. And so this card talks about us having or building connection with others. And the way that they are connecting is not so much speaking about communication, but it's kind of the unspoken connection that the 2 little monsters are making with that butterfly. Okay, so I feel like as far as, you know, I feel like, and this helps with not only your personal growth, but as well as the spiritual development, because it's teaching you to really connect on an intuitive level. I feel like this is practicing with your, even helping you with like your spiritual gifts. Okay. One of which could be, that's coming to my mind, is clairsentience, okay, which is clear feeling. Most of you know that as kind of like being an empath, okay. And so when we connect with other people, I know many of you that sometimes leave comments, not so much on this channel, but those of you that have come over from my other channel, Moon Moth Goddess, and watching this one here too, or even if you're watching other readers, you know, I notice sometimes that there are comments with people who talk about certain love connections, and you know, they you mention things about being able to connect with somebody, and that you feel just kind of like this deep soul connection with someone where it's unspoken. And that's more or less what this card is talking about, is that unspoken connection that we have by just kind of sitting and connecting with somebody energetically. Okay. Now, this may also be something that helps you with your claircognizance, okay, your inner knowing. It can certainly help you with, what do I want to say here? Your clairsentience, your claircognizance. And I feel like also, as a collective, we are all going through a major vibrational shift here on Earth from 3D into different dimensions of consciousness towards 5D. And so when we can connect from that place, we no longer feel separate from another. We feel more this connection of oneness. And so here these two little monsters are feeling in that moment, in that connection, connecting to that butterfly, the beauty of that butterfly, and also in that it is another form of life. And so I feel like this helps you with your spiritual development, in that you helping to raise your vibration, but also helping you to see and feel that interconnectedness with something outside of yourself, which means that we can go out, you know, and certainly spend time in connecting in with self, but we can also kind of connect with other people, not just by looking at them, right? Or not just by sitting in nature and looking at a tree, but more or less us really connecting deeply with it energetically, okay? And that might be like you know, looking at, say, like a tree or a bird or a squirrel or, you know, even another person, where you look into that person's eyes, or, you know, the way in which these two little monsters are kind of sitting with each other. It's being able to, I feel like, embrace that energy that is shared between the two of you as you are around each other. So I certainly feel like this is something, like I said, it's not only helping with your personal growth, because it's also teaching you how to connect with others and to feel that interconnectedness, but then also with, you know, your spiritual development there as well, to be able to connect with something outside of yourself and see the beauty in it. I feel like it also something that's very helpful for grounding as well, being present, okay? And then you also have dare to taste the unknown here. Let it seduce your spirit awake, okay? So this, to me, is kind of like more or less maybe for personal growth, is that getting comfortable with taking a risk, stepping outside of your comfort zone. Okay, and I also feel like with it seducing your spirit awake is more or less talking about you really feeling alive, feeling that life force energy within you. Okay, you have cleansing here, so maybe for some of you this is learning how to, we could look at this in terms of, say, like cleansing your home, right? We can get rid of things that we don't no longer use. We can donate, you know, certain things to charities or to people, you know, family members who are in need, or, you know, like if we're bored of something, we give something to someone else that might be something that really makes them happy, or could be something that they really need. And I feel like this is also your spiritual hygiene, okay? Making sure that you are keeping your energy clear, and not kind of, or paying more close attention, I feel like, to the energies that you are surrounding you in your environment, whether it's at work or if it's in the home. Okay. And she looks like, what does she have here? Looks like she's got some flowers hanging from her. I don't know if she's holding them or if they're just kind of drawn out of her arms here. But certainly cleansing, and of course that could mean many different things. But with spiritual hygiene, clearing the energy in your home, which you can also do with, like sage or Palo Santo. I have like a big thing of sage here. Or even sound, vibration can be something that also helps to clear the energy in the home as well. Opening the windows, letting some fresh air in, clearing clutter. Okay. So with your spiritual development, the cleansing might more or less look like taking a look at what belief systems you have, right? Because you can also look at the cleansing with the mind, right? The body, the spirit, having good spiritual hygiene, okay? Making sure that you're not surrounding yourself with people that are super negative, keeping you in that negative or lower frequency energy. That's also going to make sure that you set some boundaries with certain people, especially if they are family members and you can't very well, get rid of them. However, yes, you can, because I know that there's some of you that have left me comments before that have said, I cut this family member off, I no longer talk to them. So whatever helps you to kind of feel more at peace. Sometimes for some people it's not so easy just to kind of just cut family members out of their life. But more or less, healthy boundaries, certain family members at a distance. And the same goes for friendships, relationships that are no longer serving. Okay. And then your personal growth, right? That's more or less about you releasing certain aspects of the self that no longer serve you, certain behaviors, unhealthy patterns of behavior that you might have, toxic behaviors, and just kind of taking a look, right, at self, reflecting. Okay. And then we also have the rooster and the sunflower here with communication. So that communication could be listening to your own inner voice, right, which is helping you with your spiritual development, is paying more or allowing for more time for the self, more time of solitude, right? Just like they are, just kind of sitting there, nothing sad, silent, quiet, just kind of taking in the moment and connecting in with that butterfly, right? Which is certainly the same thing that we can do with a loved one, right? Like I said, just kind of like gazing. And of course, that might not be something that you can do with people all the time, just if the other person's kind of open to, especially if it's like a romantic partner, then it might be a lot easier to do that than if you're just kind of like sitting with your friend. But even that, you might have times when you're hanging out with a certain person and, the two of you guys are just sitting there, and just kind of sitting with each other, enjoying each other's company. And be something like that. So whatever chance you have with whatever you have, I feel like this is spirit wanting you to connect more. And maybe that is with maybe that is with nature for some of you, or if you have the opportunity to connecting with another person. I'm also feeling, because we have the rooster here. The rooster, if you think about them, they are quite noisy, but their voice is always heard. Okay. And I feel like because rooster energy too, it can be very powerful. But I also feel like can also be quite abrasive, right? Sometimes roosters can be a little bit crazy in terms of the way that they are just kind of out there with their voice. But I feel like it's important for you to also speak your truth, learn to communicate clearly, authentically. This may even be learning better ways, which can help you certainly for your personal growth. Learn better ways of communication, okay? And learning to listen, learning to, hear out another person, and also making your communication clear with others, okay? But also I feel like speaking mindfully, right? Making sure of the energy that we do put out when we are communicating, making sure, of course, that we're not being aggressive, or we are kind of throwing out any energy that could be not so great. So we're also kind of watching words, but also making sure that we can properly communicate what our needs are, or what we might be needing from another person. Just healthy communication, I feel like, is important. And also the communication, I feel like, with your spirit team. And again, this goes back to helping you with your spiritual development by also paying attention to the way that the universe communicates with you, which means that we are spending that time to look at and pay attention to the ways in which Spirit communicates. And I know that many of you are aware of signs and synchronicities and things of that nature, and then just kind of taking time to think about what that means for you in that moment. Okay, what is it that the universe is trying to communicate with you? And if it's not something that just comes to you right away, because sometimes it's not, sometimes the way the universe communicates with us can seem a little cryptic and it's hard for us to figure out. So I would encourage you to journal, okay? Write things down. Sometimes the universe gives us messages kind of like little bit at a time until we're able to kind of put all the pieces together and then understand kind of what Spirit is communicating to us. Okay? So I'm just going to take a second to look at what this message is here. When we're asking Spirit, what personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? Okay, so the one thing that I'm noticing, even though we do have the major arcana here, my mind or my eye is kind of being drawn to this Seven of Pentacles card, where she is asleep on the pumpkin. Okay, the Seven of Pentacles is about taking time to reassess and reevaluate what we're putting our time and energy into. Okay. It's also about us being patient, because this is about nurturing the seeds that we have planted. And this could be towards anything, right? Career, relationships, money, anything that we're working on. Okay. And this is us putting in the effort here, which goes with us developing spiritually, right? And also the personal growth that we're working on. It takes time. Nothing happens overnight. Okay? So this is us after we have, spent time nurturing whatever this means for you, that we take that time as part of your process to just pause for a moment and think about what direction we're going. Let's just say that we have a goal and we're working towards that goal, and we're working and working and working. This is kind of like you taking that stop and saying, okay, this is where my goal is. This is how far I've come. What else do I need to do in order to make this dream come true, or to get the results that I want here? So the Seven of Pentacles gives us that opportunity to look at things and decide whether or not we need to change something up, okay? Or do we want to keep investing, or do we want to start investing our time and energy elsewhere, okay? So this does require patience, but the Seven of Pentacles is basically telling us that we will soon see the fruits of our labor. Okay, so here, she's got two big pumpkins that have grown, and then these other little ones are not quite ready yet, right? She's still waiting for these ones to get a little bit bigger, and it kind of looks like she's got some seeds back here as well, right? That she's waiting to harvest as well. So yeah, I feel like it's certainly important for you to just kind of check in to say, okay, where am I going? What am I doing? How do I feel about this? But also being patient, because we can certainly get really frustrated here when we don't have the results that we want quick enough, fast enough, right? I think I want to start with this Hangman over here too. The Hangman is about a change of perspective. And it's also a very spiritual energy, actually. The Hangman is a very spiritual card. It is about us sometimes taking, again, we have another pause here with the Hangman, taking a pause. And maybe that means taking a step back from a person, from a situation. Sometimes it could be a project that we're working on, or when we are facing some type of insecurity or fear or limitation, some type of block. And we start to worry, we start to stress out, we start to think, okay, there's no way I'm going to be able to make this happen. And we get stuck in that whole mindset. The Hangman kind of gives us that opportunity to just stop for a moment so that we may receive insight, enlightenment, awareness, or a change of perspective. Because sometimes when the way we're looking at something is preventing us from growing or from developing spiritually. Okay? So the Hangman is kind of like a non-action card, which means that we are looking within the self. Okay? Now, sometimes the Hangman can talk about us also in the energy of surrender, which means that we are not trying to force, we're not trying to control certain things. Okay? It is an energy of letting go. It is also in that energy of surrender, it's trust. It's about trust, right? Trusting the universe, trusting our path, trusting the wisdom from within. And I feel like that is really hard. You know, as we shift out of 3D consciousness thinking and into 4D and 5D, where we feel that connection to source, okay, for us, or our higher self. And so letting go of certain beliefs, certain thoughts, and being able to open our perspective to that of higher consciousness, which is helping us to lead us towards being more spiritually developed. It requires us to look and feel within, to your inner voice. Okay? So for some of you, this might be to help you to grow. Sometimes we do need to just kind of stop for a moment. Sometimes we want to keep going and keep going and keep going. And sometimes it's with the same mentality, the same mindset. And that mindset is creating a block for us, or it's a fear that's kind of creating a block. So this is where it's important for us to just kind of take a step back. Maybe that means going for a walk. Maybe that means grounding. Maybe that means spending some more time in nature, or getting more comfortable with learning and listening to the wisdom from within versus the mind that is overthinking, overanalyzing, feeling stuck. Okay? The other major arcana that we have here is the Justice card. And the Justice card is about balance, fairness. It's about making good choices, good decisions, something that serves our highest good. It's also making sure that the decisions that we make, right, understanding the laws of karma, cause and effect, and understanding that sometimes with certain decisions that we make, sometimes those decisions can lead us into unfavorable circumstances. This is also about us taking time as a person, right, for your personal growth and development, that you are ensuring that the choices that you're making for yourself, or even those that involve other people, are ones where you are acting from a place of honesty and integrity. Does this serve myself? Does this serve the highest good of myself and of others in this situation when we are making our decision? Or is that decision we're making something that could end up hurting us or even hurting another person in the process? So this is where it's helpful for us to kind of practice good judgment with the choices that we make, because we understand sometimes if we make a choice and it's not the greatest one we could make in that moment, that it could lead to consequences for us later down the line, of situations that we don't want to be in. And we're like, how did I get here? How did I get here? Why am I here? Why am I going through this right now? Look to the decisions that you've made. Okay? So this is also us holding ourselves accountable, right? And making sure that the people that we connect with, people we surround ourselves, are also acting from a place of honesty and integrity. And if, it's a person or a situation that we don't feel is fair, is balanced for us, is it important for us to then let go of that person, okay? Or that situation or that job, whatever it might be, okay? The other thing that I'm seeing here is the Page of Cups. We've got Page of Cups energy, which is all about the inner child. It's about self-love. And for those of you that are working on your spiritual development, the Page of Cups is about being a student or a novice. It's about nurturing your spiritual gifts, okay? Your intuition. And how do we, make the intuition better? We spend more time in solitude. We spend more time, quiet time, alone. Literally meditating or spending time outdoors, going for a walk, spending time in nature. It can also be practicing. You could even do like little tests for yourself because I know sometimes I see comments with people that say, I don't feel like I trust my intuition, or I don't feel like, I'm very intuitive. We're all intuitive. Okay? We are all intuitive. We all have spiritual gifts. Some of them are a little bit more finely tuned than others. Some people's are a little louder than others. Okay? Sometimes some people's spiritual gifts might even be blocked by certain belief systems, religion, culture, your upbringing, trauma, certainly things that can cause our spiritual gifts to kind of get pushed away, right? Where they end up getting repressed or even rejecting them, right? Because we think, oh, I can't, be this way because it's looked down upon in my religion or in my culture or something. So we kind of suppress that part of ourselves. Okay, so the Page of Cups is more or less you nurturing those gifts that you have, your natural born gifts that you have. So it's less thinking, more feeling, okay, is the intuition. The intuition is very quiet. So we're going to hear her when we are still, right? And this is why most of the time, especially if you're super busy, which most of us are, we feel like I can't hear my intuition, or I can't trust myself. And most of the time it's because we're busy working, moving, thinking, social media, watching TV. We've got other stuff going on in our life that we don't ever have that downtime to just sit with the self. Okay? So many of you, self-love might be something powerful for you. Self-care, healing the inner child. Okay? Healing the inner child, nurturing the inner child. The Page of Cups is a very dreamy, very imaginative energy. So this can be you connecting into your inner child and connecting to that infinite creative potential that you have within you, that we all have within us. Okay? So helping you with your spiritual development might look like you connecting with your inner child regularly. If you have the time, daily, building that bond and that connection to your inner child. And what you're doing is you're basically taking some time to think about what things you used to like to do as a child. What lights you up? What brings a smile to your face when you think about doing it? Okay? That, is going to be different for all of you, but I'll just kind of share it for myself. When I was little, I used to love to play, of course, outside. During the 80s, okay, because I'm a lot older than a lot of you, but playing outside was a big thing, for kids that grew up in the 70s, 80s, 90s, playing outside for me, playing with dirt. I used to play with dirt a lot, play with making like mud pies and, flowers and stuff like that. So And I was super creative. I used to write. I used to do poetry. I used to paint. I used to draw. And so those are kind of some of the things that I remember that I used to like to do as a child. And then now as an adult, you know, busy life, you don't have so much time to do any of that stuff. And that is kind of when you feel more and more disconnected from your inner child. You don't feel quite as imaginative. You don't feel quite as, artistic that you used to be in that way. I used to also like to dance a lot and pretend I was a ballerina, or pretend that I was in I used to listen to a lot of classical music as a child. So I used to kind of dance around to that kind of music, okay, to classical music, Beethoven and Chopin and stuff like that when I was little. So, it's just kind of thinking about those things. Okay, how can I nurture my inner child here as an adult? How can I go back into doing the things that my inner child love? Okay, today as an adult, I can plant a garden, right? I still get to play in the dirt and plant flowers, plant seeds, watch them grow. I can still dance, right? Doesn't mean I have to do it in front of everybody, but I can certainly do it at home, right? I can sing in my car. I can sing in the shower. I can, watch cartoons. I can use adult coloring books or even children's coloring books if I want to. It's just kind of you doing those things that you love. Okay? So nurturing your inner child, working on cleansing for those of you that have, any type of trauma surrounding the inner child. It's kind of like you're doing things to make your inner child happy, make your inner child feel excited. Okay? And that inner child is that aspect of yourself that is without fear, that is without self-criticism, that is without, maybe for some of you, trauma, right? That is the closest to your authentic self, is your inner child. And that your inner child is also in close connection with your higher self. Okay? So certainly building that bond and that connection, which is helping you to spiritually develop, which is helping you with your own personal growth. Because when we can nurture the inner child, this helps us to feel more confident. It helps us to have better self-esteem. It helps us to believe in ourselves in the way that the inner child believes in themselves. Okay? So it can be helpful in many different ways. We also have the Eight of Wands here, which the Eight of Wands is about communication. So that's one thing here. Communication with others. This can also be about taking action. Okay? So if we're wanting to grow, right, we can't wait for the growth to happen for us. Okay? We have to take action. The Hangman can also be looked at as a stagnant energy because there's nothing happening here, right? So if we want growth, if we want development, we have to put the energy behind it. We have to take that first step. And we've got dare to taste the unknown. Let it seduce your spirit awake, right? Meaning that if you're feeling a pull, if you're feeling a calling towards something, don't wait for it to come to you or to happen for you. Go out and get it. Chase that dream in the way the Page of Cups would. The imagination, the dreams. You can put the energy behind it, right? To make it happen. We have the Nine of Cups energy here, which is about satisfaction and fulfillment. Wishes coming true. So dare to dream. Dare to imagine, and don't be afraid of communicating what that vision is and putting the energy behind it. Also releasing any energies that thoughts, beliefs, feelings, emotions that do not serve you making that dream come true. Okay? So we've got the Three of Wands at the bottom of the deck. And the Three of Wands is about waiting, and it's about anticipation. Okay? It's about foresight, looking ahead, planning ahead. So if we're wanting to grow personally, right? Again, this is where action is required. This is where taking that first step is, taking the risk, setting the plan in motion, which is what the Three of Wands is about. Okay? Let's see, what else for you? Pile number 1. What personal growth? We have the Quest. Okay, so here we've got this little monster here who kind of looks a lot like the Hermit. It's got its little lantern out here. It's walking in the moonlight. Okay. So for many of you, this can be spiritual quest, spiritual journey. And I feel like this is kind of like the journey inward, right? If we're wanting to grow spiritually, personally, both, we need to take time for reflection, introspection, right? What is my soul calling? What is my life purpose? What things do I need to heal? How can I nurture myself? How can I mother myself? How can I, be more disciplined, be more grounded, be more focused? Sometimes we need to check in with self. Okay. Maybe if we don't know what our favorite things to do are, maybe we look at and not be afraid of trying something new. Okay. If we don't know what our soul's calling is, and you're feeling, maybe drawn to multiple things, maybe you do some research, right? And kind of learn about one thing a little bit more, and kind of get whatever information you can about it. Let's see what else. What personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? And this does remind me of the Hermit energy very much. And the Hermit is all about solitude, introspection, reflection. It's the soul's journey. It is sometimes described as the dark night of the soul. It is about navigating our way through the darkness, which can also be looked at as our shadow. It could be reclaiming fragmented parts of the self, rejected parts of the self, which goes into shadow work. And reclaiming those parts of you. Okay? Taking some time to get to know you, right? We often spend a lot of time, wanting to get to know someone else, but do you truly know you? Do you truly know who you are? Does the other person that you're trying to get to know, do they truly know who they are? Not many spend time really getting to know the self. And that is what Spirit's saying here is going to be an important part of you developing spiritually, is to get to know you. Right? And also in building that connection with other unspoken. Just being in that presence of another soul, right? Or nature. What personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? Pile 1. Options. Okay. So Spirit's saying here, explore your options. Okay. Try new things. Do new things. Explore, which is also what this little monster here is doing. We have spirit animal contact. Pay attention to the signs. So some of you may also feel very connected to animals. Okay. So again, just like those two little monsters are doing with that butterfly, maybe you see a bird outside of your window every morning. Okay. What message does that bird have for you? Just sit for a moment and connect with it. And don't overthink it. Just kind of let your mind kind of go blank and see kind of what's the first thing that comes in from that animal. Okay? That is certainly something that's helping you to develop spiritually, right? Because it's helping you to move and shift into 5D consciousness. All are one. All are connected. And it's also helpful because spirit might be sending certain animals your way. Okay? You might see a certain animal over and over again, and maybe that animal has a certain quality or has a certain spiritual meaning that is the advice or the guidance that you need at that time to help you to grow personally. Okay? So if you're noticing an animal a lot, look up the spiritual symbolism of that animal. And then think, okay, what am I trying to do with my life right now? You know, maybe you're let's just say you're going to be running a marathon. Okay, you signed yourself up for a marathon, and you're trying to go to the gym every day and try to get your body ready and in shape, and then all of a sudden you start seeing I want to call them jungle cats, like cheetahs and leopards and jaguars. Okay, those animals are powerful. Those animals are strong. They are agile, right? Maybe that animal that you're seeing all the time is something that's showing you that, to tap into that part of yourself that is strong, that is powerful. Okay? So be open to all of the signs. Let's see. What personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? We have long distances, and it says travel and space. So maybe for some of you, visiting, traveling, vacationing, new places could be something where you do connect with different parts of the world, different people, socializing, connections. If you're someone, let's just say, who you've always lived like in the city, maybe you experience the world in a different way, right? Maybe you visit a new place and kind of take time to take everything in, right? Or for those people who kind of live more remote, where you visit another place that, say, has a little bit more hustle and bustle, it's a little busier, or, just kind of taking time to grow the senses and take everything in. Okay? All right, let's get some last messages for you. We're going to use these little cards here. Last message for pile number 1 about their personal growth and spiritual development. We have Spiny Sister, and it says, take pride in yourself. Okay. And then we also have the Storyteller. Stories are medicine, strengthening and renewing. And here, this looks like a tree of knowledge here. He's got a book open. So maybe for some of you, this can be writing, journaling, that helps you with your personal growth. Okay, monitoring your spiritual development as well. Taking documentation of, say, where you're at right now, and then maybe rereading it a year from now, or looking back to old, say, journal entries or things that you've written to see, wow, I've really grown. My perspective has changed. Or I can see in my past writing that how limited my perspective was and how different I am now. Okay? Let's see. Sometimes we forget that, right? We have path, and it says, wander on the path less traveled. What you find might surprise you. And I feel like that goes with this here. Long distance is untravel. Okay, let's see, one more for pile 1. In other words, too, don't do what everyone else is doing. Pave your own path. Okay? Let it be one that is not needing to compare your path to another, but making a path that is uniquely yours. We have the Knight here, and it says, find comfort in the night where the world switches off and the stars burn bright. So this energy of night, right, this is a period of rest for most, but it's also a time of honoring the cycles of your body, of the moon, of downtime, right? Again, taking some time to rest here. Okay. All right, so that is all that I have for you, pile number 1. I do hope this was helpful for you guys, and I will see you in the next reading. Hi, pile 2. So those of you that resonate with this card here, a time to share with the green opal. This is going to be a reading today. So we're finding out, what personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? Okay, so we are going to be pulling all of your cards, and then we're going to look at what the message is and what Spirit's saying that you need to or should focus and prioritize at this time. So pile 2, personal growth and spiritual development. Okay, so we have falling leaves, and it says, let go of the things that weigh heavily on you. You deserve to take up space. Okay. You deserve to take up space. Not so much that, you know, maybe certain things that are weighing on you that may have nothing to do with you. Okay, sometimes we can feel a certain way because of certain people, certain situations, or even certain things that may have happened from past. So let's see, pile number 2, what personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? Basically, the message is letting go. Okay. What personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? Because when we can release the old, right, then we can kind of create space for something new. Here you can see these falling leaves. She looks like she's, like they're covering her. They're totally covering her. They're all over her, right? She has no space here to just kind of be herself. She's covered by all these old leaves. In the same way that you would think about what happens with a tree. Okay? And I feel like this is kind of symbolic for you, for your own growth here. If you imagine that you were a tree, right? And you've already, your tree has fruit on it, right? And it's already, the tree's already bloomed, the fruit has already fallen, you know, onto the ground, to the earth, or, you know, somebody's picked the fruit off, and now it's time for you to let your leaves go so that you can take that time to rest and focus on working on that energy, right? By the roots, your roots kind of absorbing all the nutrients from the ground so that you can get ready to start having new seeds, right? New little buds or fruit that is going to get ready to come out from the tree again, right? So you can think of that in a way of yourself as you kind of going through certain experiences, having certain feelings and emotions, and then taking some time to think about that experience, right? What you've learned from it, and then being able to let go of the feelings, the emotions, the anger, the pain, the resentment, whatever it might be that you're holding on to, and taking the lesson with you. Okay, taking that information with you so that you can then integrate it into your life moving forward. That is going to be something that helps you to grow personally, because you're thinking, okay, well, this XYZ happened in the past, and I learned, you know, this thing, or I learned that thing from this situation. So now this has helped me to grow personally as a person, because now I know, don't do XYZ, but rather ABC instead. Maybe this is the better choice. So you kind of help yourself to grow that way. Okay. All right, let's see. What else? What personal growth or spiritual development we're going to take this one here. It says the owl and hop with wisdom. Okay. And what do we want to do now? We're going to use this one here. Pile 2. What personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? Okay, I'm going to cover her up a little bit, but we've got guidance here. It's a shame to cover her up because this is a really cute card, but you got to make it YouTube friendly. Okay. So we have guidance here. And let's now pull your tarot. Wisdom, guidance. And I might have to cover up some of the imagery from this tarot deck, but we'll see. What personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? Pile 2. Okay, so we have the Ace of Pentacles. We have the Queen of Wands. We have the Seven of Cups. What personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? The Hanged Man. We have the Three of Wands. We've got the Death card. Make sure these fit here. And the Chariot. Okay, I'm going to put the Chariot in here. Okay, so the major arcana we have here is the Hangman, Death, and the Chariot. Let's see. I'm curious to see what this Seven of Cups, I might clarify this card a little bit. But from what I'm seeing here with the major arcana also in the tarot, they symbolize the major places that we are at on our spiritual path. Okay? The Hanged Man is an energy of surrender, sacrifice, letting go, a change or a shift of perspective. It's also a very spiritual card. So is the Death card too, but the Hangman is a card of enlightenment. We've been enlightened in some way. We've been awakened in some way, or we've received some type of message or download from spirit that helps us to change our perspective. Okay? Maybe we're seeing something in a different light, seeing a person, seeing a situation in a different light. Okay, the Hangman, because it is an energy of non-action. Basically, this person is just kind of hanging here upside down. This is kind of like seen as a pause. However, if we stay in this state for too long, right, this suspended state, sometimes this can lead to stagnancy, because the Hangman is also about indecision. Okay, so the Death card is right after the Hanged Man. The Death card is about change, transformation, endings, letting go of what no longer serves. Okay. And then we have the Chariot card here, and the Chariot is about powerful movement forward. It is about the balancing of opposing forces of energy, whether that means your masculine and your feminine energy, or that you have, you know, you're connecting with another person and you and that person need to bring your energy into alignment. It's also about us bringing our energy into alignment in order to move forward, make progress. The Chariot is also a card of victory, success, willpower, determination, focus, okay? Which might be really important for some of you to grow, right? Personally, if we want to grow, what I feel like is an important thing here, and I feel like this goes a lot with your personal growth, okay? Let's just say here we start off with the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups is about choices, options. Sometimes with the choices and options, we might be feeling very overwhelmed because we have a lot of things on our mind that we want to do or we want to plan with. The Seven of Cups can also talk about fantasies and illusion. Okay, so sometimes we are, right, in situations that create some type of illusion for us, and that certainly can lead to stagnancy in our life. Okay, so in order for us to overcome that stagnancy, we have to take some time to think about what people, situation, ways of thinking are blocking us from being able to progress, to move forward. So maybe that means we need to, look at another person and say, okay, this person and me are not vibing right now. We're not on the same page. I have to have enough willpower to move on from this person or this situation or this job. Okay? So it's taking time, right? With the Death card here to in order to grow personally, we have to let go of what no longer serves. Sometimes we don't want to, and it's hard. Change is hard, right? It's difficult. It's not easy for anyone because it pushes us outside of our comfort zone. We like comfort. We like to, to kind of, not feel uncomfortable. But sometimes, and in order for us to grow, especially spiritually too, we have to evolve. We're not meant to sit in one place for so long, right? We're meant to continue to grow, to continue to evolve as a person, and certainly spiritually. And that includes us taking time to think about what perspectives we have. How are we looking at a person or a situation? Does that perspective serve? Should it be something that we should let go of and change? Okay. Sometimes the situations that we go through are very painful and very challenging. And the growth that comes from that is sometimes feeling like it's forced, right? Like it's forced growth. Spirit forcing us to let go of something. And sometimes that ends up in us having a tower moment, right? Where we may have ignored the signs of something that needed to come to an end in our life. And sometimes Spirit will help us along with that and give us that tower moment. And sometimes that tower moment comes in super unexpected, very abrupt. It creates upheaval in our life. It flips our world upside down, or we have a huge revelation, awakening. Okay? So maybe this hangman is symbolic of, in order for you to develop spiritually, is to be open to changing the perspective that you have. Okay, sometimes we can have a very fixed perspective on a person, on a situation, and sometimes that can hinder our growth, right? Some examples could be scarcity mindset, right? The lack mentality, poverty consciousness. It reminds me of like the Five of Pentacles energy, where we feel like we're lacking resources, right? Whether that be love or money, or we feel like we're not good enough, we're not worthy. We have fear, we have doubt, all of which, right? These things can create blockages and stagnancy in our life. So I feel like with the Three of Wands energy here, this is about taking some time to look ahead, look to the future. What do you envision as your dream here? What do you envision for yourself, for your future? Okay? And if anything in your life right now does not align with that vision, should you be holding on to it? Whether it's a person, a job, a situation, a way of thinking, a pattern of behavior, is it helping you to get to that vision that you have, that dream that you have? Right? This is Spirit saying, let go of the things that weigh heavily on you. You deserve to take up space. Right? Your space shouldn't be cluttered by other people's stuff. Right? That could be weighing you down here. So we have the Queen of Wands, which is a very powerful energy. So for your own personal growth, okay, the Queen of Wands is the embodiment of passion, of creativity, of confidence, of charisma, of this beautiful motivating force within you. This requires us to be confident in ourselves. It requires us to have a high self-esteem and to truly believe in ourselves. The Queen of Wands is also the energy of a go-getter. If you do have a dream and you have a vision, right, and you kind of take some time to say, okay, how can I make this happen? We have to also take that first step, which is also what the Three of Wands is about. Taking that first step, putting and setting that plan in motion. Okay, is there anything that is not in alignment with what that plan or that vision is? Okay, the other thing here is the Ace of Pentacles. And if you notice on this Ace of Pentacles, there's a little doorway here. And it's open, right, with this path. The Ace of Pentacles is basically a blessing from the universe. It is a gift of a new opportunity, something tangible for you. Okay, so there's a need for us to pay attention to the opportunities that are present. But also, you know, we can't just wait for these opportunities to come to us, right? We have to have this passion and energy, this drive, this motivation to want to achieve that vision, that dream. This requires us to stay focused, disciplined, okay? And sometimes if we feel like, oh no, I can't do it, or I don't know why I feel kind of a lack of motivation right now, or a lack of drive, a lack of willpower. Maybe this is important for you to kind of take that time to assess where your beliefs are at. Is there negative thinking? Is there self-sabotaging thoughts? Okay. Is there fears that you have? Okay. Subconscious beliefs of, or maybe even for some of you, like a fear of failure. Okay. Does that serve that dream? Does that serve that vision? So this requires us to really get also both of our feminine and our masculine energies to also work together. Okay, in order to, and this is also you envisioning yourself being successful with a successful outcome, believing in yourself. Okay, even if, you know, it doesn't work out in the way that you want it to, it doesn't mean that you can't try again. Okay, so certainly learning here from mistakes that we've made. Okay, taking some time to look at, right, all of those falling leaves there. What else? The guidance here. Maybe this is you being open to receiving guidance from Spirit, paying more attention. Okay, the universe is constantly communicating with us. Maybe that also means reaching out to others for guidance, especially if we feel stuck. Okay, and sometimes we are. We can't think of a solution. This is where this card comes in, a time to share. Number 30, and I think I actually want to read the message from the book, because I feel like it's going to be kind of tie all of this together. So we have a time to share. It says, we may love the road we take alone, and on that lonely road, we may find the truths of who we are. But until we allow another being to be close to us, we will not find out who we have become in relation to others. It is time to form bonds and relate, and rediscover your own thoughts and feelings in response to those of another. There will be times when there are shared experiences, their pleasures amplified because they are mutual. This is the true joy of companionship and friendship. That sense that the world is seen and experienced and even understood for a small moment by two or more people. All is sweeter because the deep longing to share with another is finally fulfilled. Okay? So, for your personal growth and development, okay, which also spiritually too, because you can certainly connect with others who are also working on growing spiritually by surrounding yourself with people who maybe provide mentorship, advice, guidance outside of yourself. Sometimes we need it, right? We need another person's perspective to help us maybe to see through some type of illusion, or to see beyond our own limitations of what our perspective might be. You know, even if we feel like, okay, well, I've already, spiritually evolved, or I've already awakened, we don't know all the answers. I don't know all the answers. We're all on a journey, right? We're all learning, all at different places. We've all mastered certain things. We've all are still learning certain things. Okay? Be open to advice, be open to guidance, but always trust what your own intuition is saying. Okay? Of course, sometimes there are certain friends that could be biased, right? Or who could also be negative thinkers. So you want to choose who you connect with, right? Romantically, in terms of your companionship and also your friendship, and make sure to, again, do those connections serve you? Do they serve your highest good? Okay, sometimes I feel like choose wisely, be selective, right? Like, let's just say that you need financial advice and you have a friend who maxes out their credit card and is always late on bills. You're not going to ask that person about finances. Okay? You're not going to ask the person who cannot maintain a healthy relationship because they've always got drama in their love life about love advice. You can certainly maybe listen to, I would say, because they could surely give you some good advice, right? By learning from their mistakes. But you may not necessarily get advice from that person on how to maintain and build, say, like a healthy long-term relationship, right? You would more so ask somebody who is in a healthy long-term relationship. What did they do? How did they get there? What were some important things that they had to learn about themselves? Or, how do they work on conflict with their partner? How, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like you want to choose your friends and the company, the companions that you have surrounding you wisely. Is there mutual respect? Is there clear communication? Is there clear boundaries? Okay? But I feel like certainly, because I'm sure I know from thinking in my own mind, I have, just like we all do, right? We've all have had a certain friend where their life was kind of like a train wreck. And you're like, okay, that's not what I want to do. That is exactly what I don't want to do. So we learn from it in an indirect way, right? And that is some guidance for us. Don't do that, right? So we can always take away from learning that. But I feel like it's important for you to kind of look at where your own perspectives are. And sometimes it is very helpful to have another person that we can connect with, that cares about us, that we care about, that we trust, where there is that mutual love, there is that mutual understanding, there is that mutual support, okay, that can certainly help us to learn, right? Many people can be very powerful mentors to us, right? Kind of giving us epiphanies, realizations, like, wow, I never thought about that in that way before. That has completely changed my perspective here, you know? I feel for some of you with this Queen of Wands energy, maybe that means working on your self-esteem, working on your confidence in yourself. And working on our confidence is you learning to accept yourself. Okay? Learning to accept yourself. The Queen of Wands is also the embodiment of beauty and sensuality, sexuality, okay? Which is very much the feminine. So maybe this means for your personal growth, you honor that feminine energy. You connect in with that fire. You connect in with that passion, that creative energy, creative force that is within you. You feed that creativity. You know, if you feel like, okay, well, I'm not the most creative person, you can be. You certainly can be. How do you do it? You start with something small. A small little creative project that you do. Maybe you work on your body, your physical appearance. Maybe you take better care of your body. Maybe that means you exercise, you eat better, you do some mirror gazing and looking at yourself in the mirror and telling yourself that you love yourself and you are beautiful, you are handsome, you are attractive, you are worthy. Okay? Work on changing any thoughts that you have that are negative. Judging yourself or being super critical of certain parts of yourself that you dislike. Learn to love those parts. Love your body. Your body does everything for you, right? Your body does everything for you. Learn to love it. Learn to love you. Okay? Be passionate about the dreams that you have. Don't give up. Okay? Be open to those opportunities. That door is wide open there. All you need to do is take that first step. Okay? And of course, with spiritual development, right? We've got the Hangman here. This is you taking time to... Sometimes we need to withdraw. Sometimes we need to spend some time alone. Because that's where the insight comes. That's where the enlightenment comes. Right? When we stop thinking and thinking and thinking and overanalyzing and trying to find a solution, if we just stop, go for a walk, sit in meditation, that is when the answers come. That's when the clarity comes. Okay? That can certainly help us to grow here. Evolve, transform into a better and more empowered version of the self. Okay? All right, so let's see what else we have for you, Pal 2. What personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? Friendship. Yeah, so that is the second card here talking about that for you. So building connections, friendships with others. Okay. Let's see what else. I'm seeing your inner child. I think I'm going to take all of these, actually. We've got the inner child. Look at that. Fascinated and mesmerized, which is very inner child energy. Fascinated and mesmerized. We also have the answer is no. We're going to see what that's about. We have the past lives, past loves, and also ancestors. And we have connect to spirit, higher power, God is calling. Okay, so spirit, God, universe, great spirit, whatever you connect with. Okay. I think I want to... Actually, I wanted to look at that too. Let's see. And I'm seeing High Priestess at the bottom. Okay? So for your spiritual development, this is you learning to connect within. Listening, get more comfortable with listening to your intuition, with trusting your intuition. Okay? First, let's see, we have the past lives, past loves, and also ancestors. You could certainly be, strengthening your bond and your connection with your ancestors. Some of you may have connections. I feel like everyone does. Everyone has a person in their life that they know of, that they've had a past life connection with. Okay, many souls reincarnate together and have experiences, whether it be your parents or friends that you have, or romantic partners. But yes, this inner child here in the fascinated and mesmerized, for some of you, to help you with your personal growth and your spiritual development, it's connecting in with your inner child. Your inner child is full of imagination and confidence. Okay? Maybe for some of you this means healing the inner child. Okay? Some of you, especially with this energy here that says let go of the things that weigh heavily on you, sometimes we carry things within our subconscious from past lives. Okay? We may certainly have feelings or thoughts that may not necessarily be from this lifetime, but more so from previous lifetimes. So take some time to kind of cleanse, purge, clear. Some of you may even want to do like past life regression, or to even explore past lives to see maybe what blocks have you experienced in a past life, and then how they might be impacting you in this lifetime, which is also a reading that I offer for those of you that are interested. It's one of the past life readings that I do. Okay? But certainly connecting or strengthening your connection with spirit is going to be something that helps you to grow, right, spiritually, but also personally, because you learn to connect in with your intuition when you're making a decision, when you've got a goal that you have in mind. So let's see, what is the Seven of Cups about here? We've got the Four of Wands. Is this okay? Might have to cover up this little guy a little bit. But he basically looks like this, kind of like a troll hiding under the bridge. Four of Wands. And the Star, I have to cover her up too. Okay. I feel for some of you this has to do... For some of you, and it's not going to be for everyone, but for some of you, I feel like this might have to do with illusions surrounding connections. Okay, for some of you, romantic connections. And not all of you are going to be in that situation, but for some of you, I feel like there's a need for you to have more faith, have more trust, be more optimistic. Okay. I do want to see what this is for. The answer is no. What is this about, Spirit? The Page of Cups. Page of Pentacles. Wow, all this page energy. All this page energy, which is about new, being a novice, being a student. Maybe some of you are not connecting in with your inner child. Maybe that's why it's coming out here. And the Ace of Wands. Wow. Okay, so we've got 3 pages here. The pages are the energy of a novice, a student. which means that if we want to grow personally, right? If we want to grow spiritually, we have to practice. We have to be the student. We have to put the time and the energy into developing a skill, a talent, a gift. Okay? I'm seeing the wands, the page of wands here, and the wands have to do with, or the page of wands has to do with exploring, with discovery, with pursuing passion, with excitement, and without fear. Okay? The Page of Cups is all about dreams, intuition, creativity, both of them actually, the Wands and the Cups, creativity. It is about nurturing your intuition. It is about self-love. It's about healing. So some of you might really need to nurture your inner child. Okay, and this is a similar message that came out in pile 1 too, but these piles are different. But we can help ourselves to grow, okay, both personally and spiritually, by nurturing our inner child, by connecting to our inner child, because our inner child has the infinite creative potential. The inner child has faith, has trust, has belief, okay? Then you have the Page of Pentacles energy here, which is about working on a creative project. For some of you, you're needing to allow yourself to be the student, allow yourself to be the novice. Put in the time, the energy into improving, right? If we want something to get better, just like anything else, right, that we're working on or that we're doing, we have to put the time and energy in, right? We can't say, oh, I have this spiritual gift and, I want it to get better. How am I going to improve it? You have to work on it. You have to kind of like exercise that muscle, right? So that you are able to take yourself from beginner, novice, to a master. Okay? If you're someone who likes to draw and you feel like, oh, well, I'm not the best artist, well, you can certainly be better if you practice. Okay? So the Ace of Wands is also about a spark of passion, a spark of inspiration, right? So when you do receive divine inspiration, like let's just say that you wake up in the morning and then all of a sudden you have this amazing idea of something that you want to do, and then your alarm goes off, you get out of bed, you go in the shower, you get ready for work, and then you've got a busy day at work, and then by the end of the day, that idea is out the window, is gone. Okay? So with the aces in the tarot, these are opportunities that Spirit is giving us, or divine inspiration, or some type of opportunity, right? For us to begin new, to start something new. We have to then take that and nurture it, right? If we want a new hobby, a new skill, a new talent, we have to put forth the energy, right? Queen of Wands, Three of Wands, take that first step in order to kind of set things in motion. And then we have to continue to nurture whatever it is, right? To help to grow and develop into something bigger, into something better. Okay? So I feel for some of you, when you do receive divine inspiration, maybe you think about it, but then where's the action behind it? Okay? We need to put forth the action here in order to manifest something in the physical. Otherwise, with the Ace of Wands, all it is an idea. All it is inspiration if we don't do anything with it. Okay? So let's get your last messages here. Pile 2, your personal growth and spiritual development. For pile 2. Okay, so we have the Green Man. It says, embrace your wildness. Embrace your wildness. And then we have Be brave and fly above the clouds. Okay, so maybe for some of you that means stepping outside of your comfort zone. Okay. Let's get one more. Okay, so we have humility. It says flowers are unaware of each other's beauty and they bloom regardless. Okay, so I feel like with this, don't compare yourself to others. Okay, don't compare your progress or your success to others. Don't compare your spiritual development to another person. Okay, we're all doing our thing. We're all learning. Some of us a little behind, some of us a little ahead, but we're still on the journey nonetheless. Okay, we also have teach here. Inspire others and let nature be your greatest teacher. And nature is a great teacher. Okay, if we can pay attention to the seasons, that's a good one right there. Pay attention to the seasons. What's happening? Okay, what happens during the winter time? For those of you that are in the northern hemisphere, during the winter time, everything is still. Right? We've got snow on the ground. Everything's, animals are in hibernation. All the leaves have fallen off the tree. Okay, there's no growth. It's just still. And then in the spring, all these new seeds are being planted. All these new seeds are starting to bud, right? And then summertime, it's a phase of active growth, right? We've got the fall, which is when we're ready for harvest. Okay, so nature teaches us that there is a period of rest. There is a period of planting seeds, then nurturing them, allowing them to get what they need, right? The sun, the water from the rain, or we're watering them. We're giving them sunshine. We're giving it love. We're giving it food and fertilizer. And then it's ready for us to see the fruit of our labor in the fall. And then we go back to rest again. Okay. We also notice certain animals that have certain behaviors, right? We can look at, say, like a squirrel, where it prepares, right? It gathers its little acorns. It prepares for the winter. It's thinking ahead, right? It's planning. It's strategizing. How am I going to get this acorn on the ground without that cat seeing me? Okay. So nature can also be a great teacher. So take some time to think about what that means for you, or maybe what you see around, your area, what you notice, right? What you notice from nature. Okay. And maybe how it does inspire you and teach you in some way, or even if you've never thought about it, take some time to think about it. What have you seen, right? Nature can be beautiful, but it can also be destructive. It can be chaotic. It can be many things, all of which are important, right? And same thing that we go through ourselves. Okay. And I'm seeing renew as well. Nature continuously renews itself year after year. So can you, through your transformation. That is how you grow, right? You focus on, I'm not going to be the same person I am today that I will be, a year from now. I'm going to be better. I'm going to be more focused. I'm going to be more disciplined. And not just thinking it and saying it out loud, but doing it. Putting the action behind it. Aligning your words and your actions. Okay? All right, so that is all that I have for you. Pile number 2. I do hope this was helpful for you guys, and I will see you in the next reading. Hi, pile 3. So those of you that resonate with card number 5, the Lonesome Gardener, and the Mookaite Jasper. I forgot the name for a second. Mookaite Jasper, this is going to be your reading today. So we're finding out what personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? Okay, so we're going to pull all of your cards and then just see what the message is for you. So pile 3. Pile 3. What personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? We have whiskey, and it says life should be sipped slowly with intention. Be patient as the vision reveals itself. Okay. I have to cover just the word up. I don't know, with YouTube. Might not like it because of younger people, but the message is there. Life should be sipped slowly with intention. Be patient as the vision reveals itself. Okay, let's see what else. What personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? We have the snake and fern with starting over. Pull one of these. What personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? Pile 3. Okay. So we have Bast with the pleasures of life. And let's pull your tarot. What personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? Okay. So we have the 8 of Cups. I can already see it. 8 of Cups in reverse. And we have the 5 of Wands. What personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? The Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Okay, we have the Lovers, and I am going to have to cover them up because they're not wearing anything. Let's use this one. Maybe both of them. Okay, so we've got the Lovers. What personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? The 10 of Cups, 10 of Cups, and the 9 of Wands. Okay, so I'm already getting here, like this is a big message here, okay? Okay, remember we're asking Spirit, like right now, what personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? Okay, so this is an important thing. The big thing that stand out to me here is the Wheel of Fortune being in reverse. Okay, and this is your major arcana along with the Lovers card. So the Wheel of Fortune, when it's in reverse, this can sometimes be when we feel, or when literally our life is spinning out of control. It could also be when we are stuck in a bad cycle. We feel like it could be perceived as a negative cycle, a bad cycle, bad karma, or we are trying to kind of micromanage the universe. We're trying to force, we're trying to control, we're not flowing with the universe, which means that we're having difficulty, and I see it right here, that Eight of Cups in reverse. The Eight of Cups in reverse is when we are having difficulty with letting go or moving on from people, from situations, from ways of thinking, patterns of behavior that are not good for us. And we may not be seeing that. So what I'm seeing here, because the Wheel of Fortune is all about change. It's about being at a turning point in our life where we are making change and we are going with the flow of that change. That if the universe is kind of helping us, guiding us to a different direction, that we're not resisting. And there's resistance here. The Five of Wands is here. Okay? So it's almost like there is a resistance to change. Now, either that is that you're holding on to people or situations or ways of thinking or patterns of behaviors that you need to let go of so that you can grow as a person, so that you can allow yourself to develop spiritually through your spirit's evolution. This looks like when you do go through something, either because of your own choices, okay, or because you are a not, how do I want to say this? Either your own choices here that you've made, or that you're not kind of wanting to, say, start over, okay? So this is basically kind of like, instead of moving away from a person or a situation, way of thinking, limiting belief, whatever it might be, it's kind of like we're reverting back into that old pattern of behavior. We're not recognizing that there is a need for change. That with the Wheel of Fortune, this is talking about cycles. Okay? The Wheel of Fortune is constantly moving. We have to kind of flow with the ebb and flow. Sometimes we have experience good things in life, and sometimes we experience not so good things. Okay? Things are constantly changing, right? We're constantly being shifted and guided towards our destiny. And sometimes we don't want to. We get stuck in the comfort zone. We get stuck in a place of fear. We get stuck in doubt. I'm also feeling some of you might have difficulty with the ebb and flow of life, meaning that when we go through experiences, okay, and we all do, we've all had bad relationships, not so great jobs. We've all had ups and downs in life. Now, from those ups and downs, the downward, right, the downward kind of turn, or the downward spiral, the way, however you want to look at it, with the Wheel of Fortune not being in our favor, right? Sometimes life happens and it's just like, wow, why am I going through this right now? Well, when that happens, we need to honor the highs and the lows of life, because they're all part of our journey. They are all something that is leading us to a higher purpose. Sometimes we don't understand, why am I going through this? But there's always something for us to learn in that moment, even in the low points. Okay, I have a feeling for some of you there is resistance here to change. Okay, maybe some of you might be a little bit stubborn, or you might just kind of literally have difficulty with letting go, because I'm seeing starting over here. Okay, starting over. And I feel with the Nine of Wands energy being here, many of you have gone through a lot. Okay, a lot. And some of you, this has to do with relationships. Some of you, it's family situations. The Five of Wands here can also talk about arguments, fighting, drama, negativity, competition, jealousy, envy, comparing yourself to other people. So the Lover's energy is also, not only is it talking about a connection between two people and being divinely guided and things of that nature, but the Lovers is also about a choice. It's about our choices, okay? So in order for you to grow, you have to recognize when there are certain decisions or choices that you make that don't lead to, or that have led to, that downward spiral of the Wheel of Fortune, right? Where we make the wrong, this kind of, to me, because the Wheel of Fortune has to do with fate, with destiny, and with karma, okay? So we understand that with the laws of karma, cause and effect, okay? Sometimes if we make a choice and it's not the greatest choice that we can make for ourselves, it might lead us to some unfavorable circumstances in our life, okay? Also, the important thing is how well we bounce back from those lows, okay? And I feel for some of you, there is a resistance to change. For some of you, it's a need for releasing control, like we're trying to force something. And for some of you, this might have to do with relationships where you end up in situations with people who are not compatible with you. You might have issues with letting go, even though you know it might be a situation that does not serve you. This person might be somebody who puts you through a lot, who you end up wounded with. Now, that could be a family member. It could be a friend. It could be any loved one with the Lover's card here. Okay, so we have life should be sipped slowly with intention, which means that we're part of your personal growth here and your spiritual development is to make sure that the choices that you make in life are to serve your highest good. Does it serve your highest good to move away from that partner or that situation who is maybe leading you to making certain choices or decisions for yourself that are ultimately leaving you in a place where you're feeling drained, you're no longer happy, you're no longer feeling fulfilled? For some of you, with that Wheel of Fortune in reverse, it's getting caught up in a cycle, a repeated cycle, and not acknowledging that a change is required in order for you to get out of that cycle. Okay? So I feel like the snake in the fern here, starting over, means, and sometimes it could even be like, okay, let's just say that this does have, because it's the easiest explanation I can think of right now, that this has to do with a relationship, and you know that that relationship is one that you're not happy in, you're not fulfilled in, you guys are fighting, you're arguing, there's always conflict, there's always drama, you end up getting hurt, and it's leaving you drained, okay? And you know that. But sometimes that person makes you really happy, and you get along. But you're noticing that this cycle is repeating itself over and over and over again. So do you keep yourself in that? Or do you make the decision to walk away and stay away? Right? Some of you might be afraid of starting over, where there is that resistance to change. Staying in the comfort zone, right? In order for us to grow, we have to be open to change. Change is uncomfortable, okay? Sometimes it means we have to let go of certain people, certain jobs, in order for us to evolve, in order for us to grow, okay? So maybe for some of you also, what the pleasures of life here is to indulge a little bit. For some of you, try something new. Step outside of your comfort zone and do that new thing that you've always wanted to do. Okay? With the Wheel of Fortune, whenever I see this in reverse, it always makes me think, and I forgot who was saying it. I think it was, I forgot what her name was. If I can think of her name. I know there's a bunch of videos all over YouTube. She's basically a channeler. She channels someone here, and this person always gives like this advice. This advice. I forgot who it is though, but if when I think of it, I'll put the name there. I think is it Joyce? Is it Joyce Myers? I can't remember. But I always think about something that this person says when they channeled something. And I think what I've heard them say is that you can't do what you've always done and expect different results. You've got to change something. Something has to change within you, within this situation. Okay? So I do also want to look at your card here, the Lonesome Gardener, and see what that one is about. That is card number 5. It might not be Joyce Myers. I might be thinking of the wrong person. Let's see, where's number 5? It says, you are learning the joy of tending to something wild until it can become something giving and warm. Just as you are now, your care and attention have given something new the space to grow and become abundant. This is now reflected in your soul. Look within and see how what you help nurture in the world is now growing within you. Where once all felt barren and unknown, there is fertility and connection. You turned away from the voice of the world and listened instead to the wisdom of the growing world. Because of that, all is blossoming and rich and verdant once again. You have made the wasteland a paradise. You have sown the seeds from which blessings can now come forth. Okay? So I first look at this message as you kind of tending to your own garden. Okay? Looking within the self and giving yourself kind of like what you need at this time. I'm kind of curious about your energy here, especially with that Wheel of Fortune in reverse. I'm also feeling another thing that would help you here, pile 3. The Lovers is about union within the self. Okay? Not just with another, but union within the self. Working on merging your masculine and your feminine energies into balance. Okay? Which means we are working on healing and nurturing the feminine energy, which is our intuition, our sensuality, sexuality, creativity, intuition, I already said that. And then the masculine energy, which is about discipline, focus, organization, action, decisive action. Okay. Why is this Wheel of Fortune in reverse? Why is this Wheel of Fortune in reverse? We've got the Knight of Pentacles. Some of you procrastinate. We've got the Devil in reverse. Some of you, your own fear and doubt might be something that holds you back from change, from movement forward. Some of you might be afraid even of losing control. But with the Knight of Pentacles energy here, with that Wheel of Fortune in reverse, some of you might need to be more disciplined. Some of you might need to be more organized, work on organization and discipline, more committed. Okay? The Knight of Pentacles represents us to slow and steady movement. But we're making progress here, right? The Knight of Pentacles is that knight that crosses the finish line in a sense, that gets it done, that stays committed to the goal, even if it is slow and steady. The important thing is action here, movement, right? Not stagnancy. So the Devil energy in reverse is about freedom. It's about breaking free from the limitations of the ego. I kind of see the Devil energy as ego captivity, meaning our own mind is keeping us stuck, captive. Our own fears, our own insecurities, our own emotions manipulating us. Or for some of you, that could be a person, okay, in your life that represents maybe a toxic relationship, a toxic friendship. Maybe it's a job that restricts you, that limits you, that doesn't let you grow, right? So do we keep ourselves at that toxic job, or that job that, you know, doesn't pay us anymore? Okay, this is you taking back your power. This is you freeing yourself from fears, insecurities, unhealthy patterns of behaviors, addictions, codependency, attachment, obsession, right? Any of those things that keep you stuck. Okay, some of you might be huge procrastinators. You know, fear that makes you hesitate with doing something, with changing something. Why is the Wheel of Fortune reverse? The Hangman. Some of you, it's a need for changing your perspective. The perspective could be something that is limiting you, right? Maybe the perspective is fear-based. No, I can't do that. I can't start over. I'm not going to meet a new person. I can't get a new job. I'm too scared to move. I'm too scared to go over here. I'm too scared to do that, right? That leads to stagnancy. We don't grow that way, right? We keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again. We can't grow spiritually that way, right? We can't grow personally that way. We need freedom to grow, to evolve. And this includes us looking at any person, situation, friendship, job, way of thinking, pattern of behavior that is limiting us. So this is, I feel like, certainly bringing your awareness to your own, maybe certain shadow aspects of yourself, bringing your attention to any external energies, right, in your life that are keeping you stuck. The Hangman is also about sacrificing, letting go, about changed perspective, insight, enlightenment, surrender. Okay, surrender, meaning that we're not trying to force, we're not trying to control. Especially if the universe tries to remove a certain person out of your life and you're like, no, I've got to hold on to this person. I can't let go of them. That devil energy is an illusion. Okay? That makes us feel trapped. It's a very oppressive energy. So this is the need for us to break ourselves free from that. Okay? All right, what is this Eight of Cups energy in reverse? The Seven of Swords. So for some of you, this might be your own insecurities. Seven of Swords can also be about escapism. Escapism, running away, fear, avoidance. Makes me feel some of you might fear failure. Some of you might even fear success. The Seven of Swords can also talk about deception, okay? Now that may be that you allow another person to emotionally manipulate you and deceive you, or your own thoughts deceive you. Some of you might be a little scattered in your thinking, and this is a need for organizing your thoughts, grounding your energy, okay? We have the Death card and the Two of Cups. Some of you, this may be relationships with people. This is kind of what I was getting in the beginning. Some of you are keeping yourself in connections with people that are deceiving you, or you may be deceiving yourself in a connection with another. Could be a toxic relationship. It could be a karmic relationship for some of you, okay? Or karmic energies here that are present, okay? And it's essentially meant for us to learn, to grow, to evolve from, right? We notice the cycle, you know? And I know some of you, you know, because I see it on my other channel, where some of you do leave in the comments where you finally have an epiphany. There's finally a breakthrough, right? Where you see yourself, you see another, and, you know, I see it in the comments on the other channel too, where people are like, I see it. I see the cycle. I can't do this anymore. Okay. All right. So let's see. What personal growth or spiritual development should you prioritize? We have groove. And then we also have drift here. And here are these two little monsters. They're like in the boat, just drifting along. It reminds me a lot of like the Six of Swords energy. And with groove being here, I've noticed that this little monster is playing music here, and these little, looks like these little bugs are dancing. You know, so again, this brings me back to this pleasures of life here, where you allow yourself to go after whatever your 10 of Cups means to you. This is about happiness, fulfillment. You know, that is what you're deserving of, to experience, to have within this life. And sometimes that means, right, making some uncomfortable decisions here, with having to move away or on from certain people and situations. And it does mean starting over, right? But it also means that you're one step closer to that 10 of Cups. I look at this as kind of like a dance with life. You get your life force back. You allow yourself to have fun, experience joy, laughter, harmony, right? Because once we let go of what does not serve, the universe helps us to align with what does. Okay? All right, so let's see your last messages, pile number 3, about your personal growth and spiritual development. We have the Storyteller. It says stories are medicine, strengthening and renewing. So for some of you, this might be writing. That's very helpful for your personal growth and development. Okay, reading, studying. You know, if you notice that you are someone who is obsessive or codependent or insecure, or, you know, whatever it is that's kind of going on in your life, you can certainly even, you know, talk to a therapist, talk to a counselor, get a self-help book, talk to, take a class. You know, even they have so many online courses nowadays that you can take, like little classes for like a self-love and healing class, or an inner child healing class, or something that helps you to understand the mind. Like you know, you take a little lesson in human behavior, or how to spot a liar, or something like that, you know, where you're just kind of really learning. So we have the green maid here, and it says the green fays speak to you, let them guide you to safety. Okay, so this is essentially connecting with nature, elemental beings. The fae is being spoken of here. So in order for you to develop spiritually, this is you strengthening your connection to maybe Mother Earth, right? Nature, animals, spending more time in nature, certainly. And let's get some last messages here, pile 3. Okay, so we have humility here. It says, flowers are unaware of each other's beauty. They bloom regardless. Okay, another pile got this message too. So what I was also saying, which I feel like is relevant here too, is not comparing yourself to other people, not comparing your journey to another's, not comparing your growth to another person's. Okay, this is being, you know, more humble. Like, especially if you're someone who's working on your spiritual development and you see another person who is, you know, a little further along on their spiritual journey, and you start to look at them with like envy or jealousy, right? We don't want that kind of energy. This is understanding we're all doing our thing. All of us are in different places. And certainly not looking down on those who are not as evolved as you, right? Doing your thing, focusing on you. And then we have wish here. It says, make a wish with a dandelion in the wind. So I feel like this certainly helps you with both personal growth and your spiritual development, because it's kind of like you have something to look forward to. You have something that you're working on, you know, something that you're working towards. And again, Knight of Pentacles energy, slow and steady, but you're doing it. You're committing yourself to that long-term goal, knowing, yes, I'm going to get there as long as I keep moving. And I feel like the issue here is not moving. Stagnancy, limitations, restrictions, maybe unhealthy partners, situations, friends, ways of thinking that keep you stuck. In order for us to grow, we've got to move. Okay? We've got to keep going, keep moving, keep growing. If you're at a job right now and you say, okay, I'm not feeling challenged enough here, find another job. Take a class, level up your skills, learn a new skill, right? The relationship isn't serving you, you're not happy, you don't feel fulfilled. Take some time to work on yourself. Leave the other connection. Focus on connecting with people who are more in alignment with you. Okay? All right, so that is all that I have for you. Pile number 3. I do hope this is helpful for you guys, and I will see you in the next reading.